What up? What is the good word? This is H the man, of course, Coach H. And you're rocking Real Talk Sports. Um, it's been a hell of a day. Very windy, very nippy up here. I'm starting to clear up a little bit in the sinuses. Hoping I can kind of keep that going for a little bit. I know it'll be back at some point. With the wind blowing heavy today, with the weather going down, um, I really found myself, being in a very good place sinus wise. So we're back for episode 7. Excuse me. So I want to give you guys a little update. So if I'm clearing up, you know why that is the case. So again, Real Talk Sports episode 7, 9 p.m. on the dinger. We're gonna try to kind of push through this. We got some updates here. First, I'm gonna start my Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, there was two big things that I noticed while I was kind of going down the roster and looking at the players' names that we've been having so far. And obviously, I'm a trenches guy, so we're really gonna focus on being inside of the trenches, looking at the defensive side of the football first and foremost. And I gotta give Howie Roseman all the props for this because what he has been able to do again, this cannot be understated. I spoke about this on the first 3 episodes. We covered it in all 3 at the draft, and now we take a look to have the roster settled once the draft has been gone, and also the free agency. The early free agency period was got our early players that we had come on our team after letting go of a couple of guys. But looking at the inside of the defensive line, just in terms of the rotation, Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and Milton Williams. Okay. We also get Janarius Robinson from Minnesota. But you look at the rotation, we're probably going to carry about, I would say, about 10 defensive linemen, right? Around that number. We're going to hover around that, try to add those guys to the 53. Um, but you hear about the names again: Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, our brand new rookie this year, and of course Milton Williams. Just those 4 guys inside, with the addition of Jalen Carter, who I believe is going to be an instant impact. I'm looking for a 7.5 sack season from this guy. He's going to be extremely disruptive, especially within the division. Um, so I'll be counting on him to come in and just kind of give the Eagles that extra push. Janarius Robinson is great depth. We have 5 guys on the rotation. Now take a look at the exterior of the defensive line. Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, the big homie. Derek Barnett coming off the ACL. Don't know what we're going to get with him early, but it's very, very, very happy to see him come back. And of course, you have our sound backers in Hassan Reddick and Nolan Smith. We're going to get after the quarterback, regardless of who is there. But this is something I want everyone to kind of take into consideration. There's been a lot of talk that I'm hearing, the whispers, if you will, on the Twitter waves, talking about Howie still being in the runnings to adding another pass rusher. He would not be against that idea. Look no further than Frank the Shark Clark, former pass rusher, Super Bowl winner last season with the Kansas City Chiefs. Came over from Seattle in 2019, I believe, won a Super Bowl then too with the Kansas City Chiefs. They recently released him, and Philly may be in the runnings. Remember, don't forget, he faced the Philadelphia Eagles a year ago in the Super Bowl. How fitting would it be for this guy to come in and just be in that same role that we went out and tried to get another pass rusher to help us. Unfortunately, it didn't help out. Help us when we went ahead and tried to sign longtime veteran, and mainstay and Robert Smith. Unfortunately for us, it didn't pan out. But you can't fault Howie for trying. And now Frank Clark being a free agent, him possibly coming in, I'm excited about that. I'm excited about what he can bring to the defense, especially him still being able to have a little bit more than a Robert Smith in terms of him coming off the edge. I think that Frank Clark would be a much welcomed pass rush indeed in Philadelphia. So just pay attention to that coming up soon. But just again, excited about Philly. I'm going to continue to give you new news. We're going to take a look at the offensive side of football, first beginning in the trenches. But just wanted to make mentioning there of another perennial ultimate defensive line, top 5 unit here on the defensive line. I'm looking for them to play much better against Iran in Sean Desai's defense here in year one, and we'll see exactly what that happens. So yesterday I was on Twitter. A very very funny tweet, a little bit out there. This is a guy who is not you know removed from doing stupid things at stupid times. Jim Irsay, owner of the Indianapolis Colts, has been surrounded by a lot of drama throughout his tenure as owner of the Colts. Put out a very odd tweet, and I found this was a bit, just a bit bad taste. He could have been just kind of, create some type of interest, create some type of drama. But he did say this, and I quote Jim Irsay, Colts fans, would you take Will Levis at number 2? Excuse me, if you're on the board for the Colts in 4 hours from now, and go Montana Young for franchise? Question mark? Question mark? I mean, why would you be asking your fan base if they would draft Will Levis, who ended up getting picked by the Tennessee Titans? The Titans being in the AFC South, they're in the same divisions as the Indianapolis Colts. But he voted to ask this question when Anthony Richardson is already there. He was their first overall pick this year, 4th overall. Went to Indianapolis, and by all means and accounts, he seems to be doing well. He seems to be fitting into the team. But Jim Irsay got asked the question: do you have some of that nose candy in his nostrils again? We already know that he was caught first a few years ago being severely impaired while driving. Jim Irsay was, but he was able to pay a fine. He did his court mandated community service. I just want to put that out there because they always love throwing out old stuff on some of our athletes that we love and respect, and they seem to be doing that. So I just wanted to point out that Jim Irsay, this is a little funny tweet. I don't like the taste of it. I don't like the way that it comes out, especially when you have Anthony Richardson, who all the focus should be on. You should be asking the Colts fan base, if they're excited about Anthony Richardson. Andrew Luck as well. His name is in the news. Possibly Colts went ahead and tried to bring him out of retirement prior to the draft. Apparently that was the case. They reached out to him and he did not respond in terms of him wanting to come back. But I found that, again, very, very odd when you talk about a guy who was drafted number 4 overall, supposed to be the future of your franchise, and you're planting seeds planting seeds of deceit, really, in your fan bases here, and you want them to answer a question that really has no merit. It really has no justification even being asked right now. So don't appreciate that questioning from him. But I guess that's kind of the way he goes about doing things. So again, real quick news. Right now, we're going to move on to the AFC. We did the entirety of the NFC. We looked at the NFC East, NFC South, NFC West, NFC North. Now we're going to move over to the AFC and take a look at those respective divisions. And we're going to start with the AFC East today. That's the division where the Buffalo Bills, New England Patriots, New York Jets, and the Miami Dolphins reside. We're going to go ahead and start with the Buffalo Bills, talk about a little bit about what they added, what they were able to get early. Of course, the Buffalo Bills being that team that everybody really felt that kind of let people down a little bit. It was really disappointing because when you take a look at what they were able to accomplish and the team's not respecting them for not going deeper into the playoffs, it's really disrespectful. In NFL playoffs, you only get that one chance, right, to make things right, to be able to move on and win yourself a Super Bowl. And that's why the playoffs are so amazing. And the NFL season is so amazing because you only have that one shot. You don't have 7 attempts like in the NBA or the MLB or the NHL. You don't have those multi-game series where you can mess up one night, but then come back again and take care of business and go out and win a series 4 games to 2, 4 games to 1, 4 games to 3, what have you. So I thought that was fitting to point out. Also, with the Buffalo Bills record being 13-3, they went on a tremendous run all throughout the 2022 season, starting with the Cleveland Browns and ending on with a loss to the Carolina Panthers after resting several of their players. But again, Buffalo Bills, I think they're the team to beat in the division. They added tight end Dalton Kincaid out of Utah. He's going to be an immediate contributor. At first, I was kind of puzzled because I like Dawson Knox. I feel like, especially late last year, when they needed him, he got those opportunities. He got them to where they wanted to be. So I really appreciate them drafting a guy like Kincaid, kind of open up a little bit. Maybe even show teams a different look in a 12-man personnel. But I think that he's going to be really, really good. Really solid player coming out of Utah again. Ready to start for a first round pick. Overall, 26th overall for the Buffalo Bills. Dorian Williams, inside linebacker from Tulane. I think this guy is going to be an absolute thumper. Somebody who's going to come in and make an immediate impact. At least challenge for one of those linebacker spots. When you take a look at Trey Edmonds no longer being there, he moved on now to greener pastures. He'll be playing for the Chicago Bears this year. Got a big contract, a 4-year, something close to the numbers of $80 million. So I expect him to be an impact player right away. So look out for him. Buffalo Bills, I believe, are going to be right up there again. When you take a look at the roster, they still have Stephon Diggs on it. They still have Allen on it. Now they got James Cook. He'll be in a featured role over here. Into year 4. Let's see what Gabe Davis can do for us here for the Buffalo Bills. I think that he's a player that has been waiting to break out for a long time. Actually now going to be the official number 2 wide receiver, big body guy. Whenever he's gotten an opportunity to be featured, he's shown that he can be dependable. Our offensive line still one of the best in the league. You take a look at the defense. Hopefully Von Miller comes back and he'll be healthy, coming off a knee injury from a year ago. It's going to look like he's going to have to come back and maybe be eased into transition. They still have Shock Lawson there. They're going to be invested in him long term. They also like Kingsley Jonathan. Maybe he'd get a little bit more of a push. I don't believe that the Bills are finished adding talent to their roster as yet. You look at Matt Milano again, AJ Klein. These are guys that are really long-term mainstays, especially Milano, who got himself a very, very big contract this year. Tre'Davious White, will he be healthy? Will he be able to last the whole season? We'll see. Jordan Poyer returned on a team-friendly deal, but he wanted to be there. They also signed Taylor Rapp, giving them some depth in the back end. But I think Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, 2 of the best in the league, especially coming back into the season. Jordan Poyer was supposed to be on his way out and decided that Buffalo is where the heart was, and came back into the team. So they still have one of the best defenses in the league. You can expect a little bit of a slide with Leslie Frazier no longer being the defensive coordinator, no longer being there. Frazier moving on to greener pastures. Well, I think the Buffalo Bills are still the team to beat, regardless of a little bit of change in their team. Moving on here now to the New England Patriots. And again, the Pats will always be competitive. I think that when their offensive situation is going to be settled out, they will be really, really good, especially now going under Bill O'Brien, the one-time head coach of the Houston Texans. He's going to get an opportunity to retool Mac Jones, if you will, with already a bit of familiarity coming out of Alabama. So you can expect him to make a little bit of a 360. I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots challenge for the division lead this year and try to supersede Miami, who's added nothing but speed to their roster. We're going to take a look at them. But just check it out again, what the Patriots were able to do, especially in the first round. They had 3 picks in the fourth, and 3 picks in the sixth. So they were able to really beef up their roster via the draft. Let's take a look at first their number 1 pick overall. Christian Gonzalez is going to be an impact starter right away, right out the gate. The number 1 corner for sure this year, coming into the NFL 23 draft. I think that Christian Gonzalez is going to play a huge role, especially now they've lost a couple of stud cornerbacks in the last couple of seasons here. So you can expect them to make the push and continue to mount on the defensive side of the football. Our first 3 picks were all defensive guys. Marty Mapu out of Sacramento State. You know, Bill Belichick is sending his scouts in the smaller schools where the players are really good, but maybe no one has heard of them. It's kind of it's been a staple, if you will, for him, going out and getting A1 talent here. But I think these guys are going to be immediate contributors. Keon White, Marty Mapu, and Christian Gonzalez, number 1 pick overall, 17 overall in the NFL draft for the New England Patriots. And I mean, their roster is still stacked with a lot of veteran leadership, a lot of players who have been there. They're still kind of moving forward. They added Juju Smith-Schuster in free agency this year. They still have Kendrick Bourne on their roster and Devontae Parker from a year ago. Let's see what Devontae Parker now can do in year two with Mark Jones. Ramondre Stevenson has got to be the guy. They did add James Robinson again in free agency, so I think that's a really good pickup for them. We'll see if he can stay on to camp. Going back to their defense, they still got tremendous play out of Lawrence Guy and Dedrick Wise Jr., Matthew Judon, All-Pro, who is still over there, Jawan Bentley, and still count on him. Jonathan Jones, who got a tremendous opening start to his career. He's been a really, really solid piece. Kyle Duggar, very, very solid. Jabril Peppers, again, being added via free agency, but you can expect him, again, Christian Gonzalez to add to that defense. They're going to be right there in the mix and right there in the thick of it, I feel, with Buffalo. Do not count them out. Moving on to the Miami Dolphins, and what can I say? This is a team that they already had speed. They had a need for speed, and they went ahead and added Elijah Higgins, one of the fastest wide receivers in this year's NFL draft. I think that he's a guy that's going to come in and surprise many. He can do a lot of things returning the return game, in the punt return game, as well as just coming as a fourth or fifth guy. Tua's going to be throwing the ball a ton. Hopefully, he can stay upright and stay healthy. We did not like what we saw out of Tua last year with the injuries and stuff. Not in regards to his play, more around his injuries. So a lot of questions around the concussions and will he be able to get through the season. They got the roster to make that happen, and it all starts with Tua. Raheem Mostert, again, still around. He signed a 2-year deal last year, and they also traded for Jeff Wilson Jr. in the season last year and reunited him with Mostert, his former backfield mate at the San Francisco 49ers. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Cedric Wilson, again, a free agent acquisition from last year. He's going to be now integrated into year two in this offense to go along with the aforementioned Waddle and Hill. And you take a look at Durham Smythe. I'm not really too overjoyed with what they have at the tight end position. We moved on from Mike Gesicki, who stays in the division but ends up going to the New England Patriots, so he'll be playing over there. Not too excited about that, but we'll see what that leads there. Offensive line, not that bad. Terran Armstead, Liam Eichenberg, Robert Hunt, and as well as Austin Jackson. So I expect for Miami to be very, very competitive, especially on the offensive side of football. Tyreek Hill is definitely still one of those guys. They also added the former Robbie Anderson, now Chosen Anderson. He changed his name, so he goes by Chosen and no longer Robbie. So if you see him over there, don't call him Robbie. Might get upset. Braxton Berrios, coming from over the New York Jets, he'll be added to the roster as well. So there's going to be a lot of competition, a lot of speed for sure on this team. I'll expect for them to kind of hit the ground running this year. And of course, how can we forget the New York Jets, adding Aaron Rodgers in free agency. He was probably the biggest trade acquisition, leaving Green Bay after all those years and finally ending up in New York. This is what all the fans wanted. This is what all the fans craved for. And now they finally get him there on the team. Aaron Rodgers, that is, of course, with the New York Jets. You take a look at the offensive rookie of the year that they had from a year ago in Garrett Wilson. He'll be added with Alan Lazard, a former teammate of Aaron Rodgers from the Green Bay Packers. He signed a 3-year deal with the team, so he'll be around for a long while. Mecole Hardman as well, coming over from the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Denzel Mims, a very high draft pick for them. A couple of years ago, he's now going to year 3. They want to see what they got with him. And, of course, Randall Cobb, as I mentioned, coming in on a 1-year deal recently. Corey Davis still there. Will be competing for snaps to try to squeeze back into the number 2 role. But who knows? He may not even be there in the roster when all is said and done this summer. DeJuan Brown, Lincoln Tomlinson, Connor McGovern, Alia Vera Tucker, and, of course, Mekhi Becton, who did not have his 5th-year rookie option picked up this year. Unfortunately, he's been back-to-back major injuries, and that is why that is happening for him. I wish him all the best. Seems to be a really good guy. They just love him. So we'll see if he can play through a healthy season. And maybe, who knows, have his contract redone or renegotiated if he's able to prove that he can stay healthy for a season. And on defense, they still have some good guys. Jermaine Johnson going into year 2. He was a first-round pick for the Jets last year. Looking to see what he's going to be able to do this year. Of course, Quentin Jefferson, Quentin Williams in the middle. They're going to look for the beef up with the depth that they've added. And Al Woods, and of course, Marquise Spencer. Don't forget Solomon Thomas is there as well. Carl Larson will be the defensive end. On the other side, they've added Will McDonald in the draft this year. So, again, Jermaine Johnson in 2022. In the 2023 draft, they go ahead and add Will McDonald IV. They're going to ease him into transition, probably be a part of the pass rush rotation there. But I expect for him to get a lot of snaps early. He is a first-round pick after all. Again, Jamie and Sherwood, C.J. Mosley, and Quincy Williams, brother of Quinnen. They all three are back. Sauce Gardner, one of the top three quarterbacks right now in the NFL. DJ Reed, his mate to the other side, is there as well. Ashton Davis has been retained, and Michael Carter II, who they're very, very high on and like a lot. No doubt will definitely be Manning in the middle of the slot. And of course, Chuck Clark coming over from the Baltimore Ravens a year ago. So I'm looking for them to really be a really good team here. New York Jets again, followed by the 7-10. If I were to look at everything, again, with the draft pieces that they added this year, looking at the core players with the addition of Aaron Rodgers, there's no doubt that the Jets are for sure in this thing, wanting to win it all. I mean, anything less than a Super Bowl at this point for the Jets would be a bust, because when you get all the talent to go along with what Aaron Rodgers is supposed to symbolize, you got to have those expectations high up there. So again, Aaron Rodgers adding to that Super Bowl or bust mystique, if you will, right now in New York. Baseball so far right now in New York has not been as strong. The Jets cannot start weak in this AFC East. But if I have to choose, if I have to tell you right now who I think will win the division between the Jets, the Bills, the Patriots, and of course, the aforementioned Miami Dolphins, I'm going to go as followed. I like the Bills at 1. Are you ready for it? Give me the Miami Dolphins at 2, the Patriots at 3, and the Jets finish at 4, even with the addition of Aaron Rodgers. Look, right now, as it stands, I believe the Jets will still finish 4th place. I think the New England Patriots have a bit more of a continuity element, if you will, to them. So I like that. I like the fact that Bill O'Brien is coming back to work with Mac Jones, a player that he's familiar with from his time out in Alabama. So I think that return and that hard work that that extra hard work they're going to put in the summer is really going to turn them around. Mac Jones has a lot to play for, especially after he had a really good start to his career in the first year, and then last year getting mixed up with that double offensive coordinator situation that they had over there, or a melange of offensive coordinators, if you will. But I still believe New England will be the better team when it comes down to it. Miami, I mean, just like the Patriots, they still got a lot of proof, right? Tua was not healthy, so a lot of people looked down on them, thinking that Tua was not the guy, couldn't get it done. But they finished 2nd place last year at a 9-8. Easily, the Patriots were competing all the way to the end of the season for a playoff spot. Who knows? They might have that same chance and that same opportunity to get back up there and compete for a playoff spot again. But I like the Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins at 2, the Patriots at 3, and the New York Jets at 4. Those are how I have it lined up in the AFC East. We'll be going over the AFC South tomorrow. I just wanted to make sure that we started out with the Eastern side like we did in the NFC for the Eastern side, and my Philadelphia Eagles reside in the NFC East. So we'll be moving on tomorrow to the AFC South. Should have a lot more to talk about, should have a lot more to cover. Before I head out here, I just wanted to point out, and I had the pleasure to watch WWE's Backlash on Sunday, and what a pay-per-view it was. I wouldn't expect this was going to be a throwaway, or it was in Puerto Rico. No disrespect to the Puerto Rican fan base out there, but sometimes WWE, whenever they go out to far places or outside of the states, sometimes the pay-per-views don't meet up to expectation. They can be throwaways, things that people kind of go over their heads, something like we could have seen on Raw or SmackDown. But Backlash was a really, really good pay-per-view. I thought the opening matchup between Bianca Belair and Io Sky, for me, in my opinion, was the best match of the night. They opened the pay-per-view, and that had me watch it through the remaining. I know Seth Rollins went up against Omos, and there was the muchly hype and anticipated Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar co-main event to go along with the 6-man tag team match with Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Matt Riddle taking on the Usos, and of course Solo Sikoa, the ever continuing rising Solo Sikoa, who's for sure has stardom dripped all over him. When they're ready to put the battery on his back, he's going to definitely win himself a title very, very soon. There's no doubt about it. I think before the end of 2023, Solo Sikoa, I'm calling it right now. Before the end of 2023, Solo Sikoa will win himself his first title on the main roster before the year is done. I'm moving on now. Like I said, very, very good pay-per-view. Io Sky, always been one of the best talents in my opinion, in the WWE, NXT, or anywhere else on the main roster. It was good to kind of see her out on her own, really doing her thing, and showing that she could be someone to carry the brand for years to come. Bianca Belair has done a tremendous job. She's definitely one of my favorite female wrestlers right now. Unfortunately, Sasha Banks is no longer there, so I gotta go with Bianca Belair, an absolute stud of an athlete. You can see that she puts a lot into her character. You can see that she puts a lot into her performances, night in, night out. She really carried the brand well, represented, especially for the women of wrestling. And I wish for her to continue to do that as long as she can. Rhea Ripley against Zelina Vega. I'm sorry, I'm only talking about this match right now. Zelina Vega has been knocking on the door just to get a chance to showcase her talent regularly. This was something that was very emotional for her because she is a Puerto Rican who was born in the United States in the Bronx. She represents the Bronx, but her parents are Puerto Rican. Her father, actually, if you didn't know this, her father was one of the people that the state of New York lost on that fatal day in 9/11. He used to work in the building that collapsed, that was apparently bombed by the planes, and that collapsed. And her father was one of the workers there. So he passed away, and I know that he was a very big part of her falling into wrestling and becoming a wrestler. And there was even a point where she was going to give up wrestling because she thought that she wasn't, getting a chance to break through. And all of a sudden, The Rock uplifted her spirits and kind of pushed her through that period, that difficult period, and she got an opportunity. And ever since then, man, she's kind of been there, one of the best workers on the mic too in the women's division. I don't think anyone in the women's division can go bar for bar with Zelina Vega on the microphone. It's just unfortunately she's very petite. So it's taken a lot of time for the WWE to kind of push the button on allowing her to showcase her talents more. She's always been like a manager of sorts for different wrestlers. She did really good stuff with Andrade Cien Almas before he was released by the WWE and ended up in AEW. I thought Zelina Vega, some of her best work came with him at her side. Her husband is actually in real life is Aleister Black, who is now a part of the AEW roster. They are actually a real life husband and wife, and I believe that he was also witnessing this event somewhere in the crowd, in the audience. But she did a really good job representing her country. I want to wish her many congratulations. She had a great matchup with Rhea Ripley, but of course, Rhea Ripley just winning that title, I didn't think they were going to make her drop it so quickly, especially in Puerto Rico in front of the hometown fans. It's very rare that the WWE, this is just a side note, it's very, very rare that the WWE would allow for their hometown wrestlers to win in their hometown. This is matches, title matches, just in general. The WWE loves to make you believe they're going to win, and just when they think you're going to win, they throw a wrench in the engine and follow the plan. So, again, congratulations to her finally getting that platform to be able to showcase her talent in front of her home crowd, in front of her mom, in front of her brother, and of a few other family members that she had there. And I thought that was really cool that the WWE did. So I just wanted to give you guys a final word on that. Tremendous job by the WWE. Tremendous job by Triple H since taking over as the lead creative director. He's done a magnificent job with the roster, reintroducing the World Heavyweight title that will commence. The tournament is supposed to be commencing tonight on Raw. So take a look at that. If you're a wrestling fan, go ahead and get on Raw. I know I'm going to get on Raw right after this episode. So I just wanted to send a shout out to the WWE and all of the wrestlers out there. Peace and love. We just have a viewer checking in. Yo, what is up? What's good? H man, thanks for joining the stream, the podcast. I hope to see you again back. We're just gonna be wrapping this up. So unfortunately, you've missed a little bit, but I'm sending my highs and my regards back to you and appreciation for joining us on this episode 7 of Real Talk Sports. For those of you who are joining and will watch later on, we just want to again send you a huge shout out and appreciation and thank you. I'm going to continue to grow. I'm going to continue to get better here as the podcast goes along. And like I said, this is going to be the week that I'll be putting it out there on all the socials so you can have the links directly. Click the reminder button, click the subscriber button. Please share and go ahead and leave the comments. I'm always looking to get better. So any suggestions or critique would really, really be appreciated at this time. But we're going to go ahead and sign out here. Go ahead and recap the episode, if you will. But this has been H the Man. I'm going to be signing off. Peace and love always. You guys take care. Episode 8 of Real Talk Sports will air tomorrow. We'll stay tuned. Peace and love. Peace.